again. We have reached episode 27 according to the official chronological episode count. And in my videos, you guys all know that it's not gonna match up because I am not counting the More to Love weekly recap from ITV USA. Now that that's out of the way, yay! You are tuned in to another Nutshell Love Island US review. Let's get straight to the point. The new girls have come in, they've done their strip tease for the boys. And remember, this was like a heart rate challenge based on the strip tease. So here are the live results. Watch with me live.
I got it, Ladies, it's time to see which boy raised your heart rate the most. Justine, the boy who raised your heart rate the most was Carrington.
I thought it was going to be Johnny.
I was not surprised that my heart rate was raised the most by Carrington because it was one of those things where it's like, I can't look away. I feel like I should, but I can't. Moira, the boy who raised your heart rate the most was Caleb. Yeah, boy. Kirsten, the boy who raised your heart rate the most was Carrington.
Those skills, though.
Interesting.
Laurel, the boy who raised your heart rate the most was Calvin.
Yeah.
And Sally, the boy who raised your heart rate the most was Johnny.
I'm not surprised that Johnny was the one who had my heart rate the highest. Like, come on, that guy is the sexiest man. Carrington got 2 out of 5.
Carrington the winner, though. Way to go.
Carrington.
Uh-oh.
Interesting that Bennett didn't get anyone's heart rate. Does that mean Kirsten could be jumping ship soon? Let's go on.
Boys, it's time to see which girl raised your heart rate the most. Carrington, the girl who raised your heart rate the most was Lakin.
Lakin did get my heart rate up, so that was very interesting. That was probably the most surprising part of my night.
Bennett, the girl who raised your heart rate the most was Julia. That angel dust. Calvin, the girl who raised your heart rate the most was Sally. So I'm talking about boys, Sally. She was driving stick shit with my hair, bro. Johnny, the girl who raised your heart rate the most was Sally.
Like you so hard.
And Caleb, the girl who raised your heart rate the most was Laurel.
I knew it. I knew it.
That was more of a shock factor.
I was not surprised for the results. I think it was because I just literally didn't know Laurel had it in her.
I need a drink after that. Yeah, let's
I
get a
need
drink,
a drink
y'all.
after that.
Let's be honest, Caleb. Justine wasn't surprising enough. Like, boy, you tripping. Let me just say, I will always go hard for Justine and Sally. Maybe because I love them and they're so freaking cute. And also, I wish I had the friendship that Justine and Sally have. I will clarify something. My sister and I have such a friendship, but like we are so far away from each other. I haven't seen her in a long while, and she has no trouble making friends, but I always have trouble making friends. And when I see this, it just reminds me of how lonely I am. Of course, my boo thing is my best friend, but like, sometimes as a girl, you just need your bestie, like your chick, I need my Louise. I need I'm Thelma, y'all. I'm Thelma. I need my Louise. Can I get some Louise love up in the comments? So, the girls are sitting chit-chatting in their own group, and the boys are doing the same obviously discussing the new girls, and the new girls are doing the same thing, discussing which boy catches their fancy. So some of the girls, it's like game on, and this is Moira and Kirsten specifically. Laurel is just low key, like taking it all in, but I know inside she's just like game on too. And I love Laurel too. Laurel in my mind looks like the girl who writes like in her notebooks with like flowers and hearts like on the corners of the pages, and she's just like so sweet. And I think she smells of vanilla. I don't know, I think her, and in my mind her and Moira smell really good, like a sweet smell. In my mind, Kirsten might smell more of like a spicy thing, you know, spicy perfume. Justine, in my mind, smells of like vanilla too, surprisingly, and cinnamon. I don't know why. I think Sally smells florally and citrusy at the same time. And yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why that just pops in my head, but like, yeah, I'm weird like that. So, the guys, obviously, the hot commodities are Bennett, Carrington, and Calvin, according to the new girls, right? Those are the ones that they kind of have their eye on, even though I think Lakin mentioned Johnny. But we know that's a no-go zone. The boys, Bennett, like reassures the guys that he's still into what's her name, Kirsten, but then anything can change in the Love Island villa, and Calvin seems to be pretty okay, aka pretty silent about where he stands. But Carrington is just like, oh, for sure, I'm attracted to, I'm taken by Lakin's aesthetics, but I'm not sure she can offer me what Laurel gives to me. I think we're pretty strong and no one's gonna turn my head that much. So I'm like, boy, bye, snore. Like, I love you. Like, with me and Carrington, it's a love-hate relationship. I don't hate him, but it's just like I have a hard time believing the things that he says. But I'm down for giving him the benefit of the doubt. So let's go and see if he will earn my trust. Next day rolls in, and basically, it is revealed right after Sally wakes up, and she's always in a jolly mood except when she was on the outs with Johnny. And that's when you know something's wrong. Jump in on people's beds and be like, y'all are looking too comfortable and there are girls out here trying to take your man. I love her sense of humor, man. I love it. Anywho, so a bunch of chats are going on. Justine is frustrated with the fact that she's initiating a lot of affection, physical affection, aka cuddles, aka talks, and blah blah blah. And she, opens up to why do I keep on calling him Jacob in my mind? Caleb, about this, and then he's like, okay, thanks for sure for letting me know, and I will take initiative from now on. And I'm like, good on you, girl, man, good on you. And I'm like, do these boys not know how to be in relationships? I don't know. Let's just move on. And then it comes out when the girls are getting ready that there was a lot of smooching and everything. So Moira clearly laid it on thick on Calvin because she don't want her man forgetting what he has in his bed. Okay, but I feel like it's a little too late for all of that. It's a valiant effort. But I think if she comes hard, he might get in that box. He might get in that Moira box. Like, she might get him where he needs to be. But then obviously he has chats with the new girls and he's interested and he's intrigued. So I think that competition is great for Moira, getting her to get out there and put in some effort, put in some work, honey. The girls talk to Carrington and they get good vibes off him. And Julia says that he actually seems to be a guy who's very smart. And this is what I've been saying. People have been sleeping on Carrington. Yes, he portrays himself a certain way, but he also is Carrington. And I think we need to dig deeper and look and not sleep on him. So I'm at the part now where the girls are getting a text. Oh, yeah. And Lakin also had a conversation with Bennett. And it seems like, you know, he's open to having conversations with some of these new girls, even though he's coupled up with Kirsten, and I'm not mad at that. So now I am curious to see who the girls will pick on to take on their dates. So here's what I think about the date. So both girls picked Carrington, right? They head on over to some place where they talk. He has interesting conversation. With both girls. And earlier on, when the girls in the villa were asking the new girls why they picked him, Julia said it's because she found him interesting and he wasn't what she expected. Lakin said that it's because they connected and they had so many things in common, aka the number of times his mother had been divorced, the fact that he has a nephew who's autistic and she has a brother who's autistic, and they kind of bonded on that. So Laurel, meanwhile, was just like hurt the entire time as she's watching the girls getting ready, as she's watching them leave on their date. And it's not just like from a jelly situation. She's opening up in the villa to Calvin about why she's upset about this whole situation. And she's just like, she has been with this guy for like an amount of time, and it has taken so much effort on her part to get him to open up and reveal certain things about himself, his family, that you know are important in their relationship building. And then a new girl comes in, and just like that, um he opens up on no effort on her part, and she's just like, thinking, what is it that she's doing wrong? Why is it that it's so easy for this person to get inside, and know what's happening with him? So these are my opinions. I think that Carrington and Lakin, and I learned this term from Real Talk with Yanni. She calls it trauma bonding. It's basically a situation where one party has gone through something traumatic in their like in their life, and another person has gone through something traumatic in their life, and they come together and they get to connect as they're talking and just having a conversation about this experience that they have in common, and then they end up building a relationship because of that thing that they have in common. So for them, it's a mental health issue that is bigger than anyone can imagine or deal with. And it has impacted them so heavily. And that is basically, in my opinion, what I see them bonding over: the divorce and the mental health of their loved ones. So for Laurel, if I were her friend or if I knew her, just be like, dude, like, Carrington, I think he views Laurel as someone who's perfect. She doesn't have these issues. I'm not saying she's free of issues in her life, but they're just not similar to his. And in his mind, he thinks like, she's picture perfect. She has the life that he wants to have and wish he had growing up. So he's looking to her, seeing that this is the healthy option for being emotionally and mentally, and that's how he wants to progress in his relationship moving forward. Laurel is the representative of that. But then what he's not understanding is that Laurel needs him to open up and get to know him, and she hasn't realized that he still hasn't coped. He still hasn't. For him, it's a daily emotional, daily mental space that he's in. He just can't come in and out of her normalcy or our normalcy easily. So he I think he's having a hard time opening up to her just because trust is very important, especially when it comes to family. But then when you encounter someone like Lakin who has gone through similar experiences, it becomes easy for you. Another thing could be that when someone else has put in the hard work and you get talking and opening up, it makes it much more easier for you to open up to other people. So it's nothing that she's really doing wrong. Just look at the situation and his life, and that's his reality. So I would tell her not to blame herself. What I will also say is that being in her shoes is extremely exhausting, because you're not only getting to know someone, that person is leaning to you to kind of like help or heal them. And I think that's unhealthy because, one, you're not a trained therapist, psychologist, or whatever to help him cope or deal with this situation. Two, you don't have enough information about that situation to kind of go through having a relationship and resolving those issues, or helping him come to realization or actualization. And three, it's taking more from you than it's putting in. He's not putting anything into her heart, her love tank, as people like to call it. And eventually it's just going to be emotionally exhausting. Being in a relationship that's like that is very alluring because it's challenging, one, and two, I find people who are nurturing, like naturally, they want to help and be there and love somebody and help them heal. And I think that's the dilemma that she's caught up in. And you need to wake up and realize that you also need a partner who puts into you, who nurtures you, who cherishes you, and gives you all the things that you need. So at this point in time, I actually don't think Carrington is a good match for her because of those reasons that I have highlighted. I think she will be a better fit with Calvin. Actually, because he's always listening to her, he's always encouraging her, he's always helping her see herself for who she truly is. And beyond that, even the things she can't see about herself, he like always praises her. He always tries to lift her dark mood and her sadness. And I'm 100% for Laurel and Calvin. I think she should just dead that relationship and move on. Okay, so after their date, the Callum and why am I calling him Callum? Oh my gosh, Carrington and the girls come back in the villa. They have a chat with Laurel Carrington, of course, and she airs out her issues that she's had, specifically with him opening up to Lakin. And he's just like, "Oh, I didn't think it was a big deal. Really, really, really." And she's, let me do that again. Really, really, really. And she just ends up giving him kisses. And I'm just like, back into the same old, same old. These girls are just like compromising their feelings, their instincts, just to make the guy feel secure, or yeah, secure in the relationship so that he doesn't bounce, or they don't want to scare the guy with, standing their ground. It reminds me a lot of me in my early dating days. And honestly, that whole thing at some point in a woman's life gets really old. Maybe the girls aren't there yet, but trust me, it'll always end up how you don't want it to end up if the signs are there. So there's no point in trying to make it work when it's not gonna work. So I think she needs to move on. I don't know how many times I need to say this. She needs to move on. She'll be all right. It'll hurt, but she'll be aight. As my mom used to say, as long as you haven't died, nothing, like, the world didn't end. Okay, it's just a temporary feeling. And at that time when she was saying that, it was hard to hear, but it was nothing but the truth. And she always said, men will always be there. And baby girl, men are always there. So moving on, fast forward into the night, another person is having big ideas in his head. And who are we talking about? Actually, before we go into that, he did say that he told the girls that there was no way he was going to change his mind about how he feels about Laurel, but he would be lying if he said that he wasn't interested in Lakin, and that he would be lying if he said he didn't want to try and get to know her. Sorry about that. And then he goes and tells the boys that the date with the girls was night and day. Julia felt more like a friendship vibe. Lakin felt something different. Lakin and Julia have a conversation. They reiterate the same thing, and then Lakin has a conversation with Laurel, and Laurel is like, okay, cool, cool that you like him, that you're interested in him, that you feel that there's a connection, that you might want to pursue that. So obviously I can see her breaking down. I can see her still holding on to wanting that relationship, if we can call that relationship, to work, but prediction, computer says no, it's not going to work. Meanwhile, another person who has big ideas in his head is Johnny, and he's filled in Justine and all the guys about how he wants to make this grand gesture and ask Sally to make things official with him and for them to become officially boyfriend and girlfriend. And I thought that was 100% like super sweet. I loved it. I like when he was talking to the guys when they were getting ready in their changing room about the plans, and like he has planned everything to the detail, man. Even the kind of facial expressions the guys are supposed to have, or what type of role they're supposed to personify. And I'm just like, controlling much? I kid, I joke. But he's a perfectionist, as you can see, and he pays great attention to detail, even the minute ones. And then Caleb, you know, he's always devil's advocate. And then he's like, what if she says no? And Johnny's like, huh, what? And and he's like, what if she says no? And he's just like, it didn't even cross his mind, Johnny, that is. And he's just like, well, you guys are just gonna have to come jump me, because that's what it's gonna feel like. It was nice light banter. But we all know, everybody knows that Sally's gonna say yes to Johnny's proposal, in quotes, and I'm all here for it. Honestly, they led up to it, Justine like gently guiding her to her first messenger, aka Calvin, and they thought, oh wow, I can't wait to see this unfold. And then, like, oh my gosh, as usual, they just left us in suspense. They cut it off and teased the whole process in the next episode. And I'm like, really, ITV America, really, that's how you gonna do me? You gonna do me dirty like that? And the girls were at the window. They were like, oh, do you think she's gonna cry? And then they were like, oh yeah, for sure, she's gonna cry. So, question for me, how do you think the girls are going to feel? How do you think they're going to react to the grand gesture Johnny is gonna make? And how is it gonna affect their relationship with their current partners? Is this something that you're for? Is it something that you're kind of like, not really for? Are you indifferent? Yeah, let me know in the comment sections below. I know this has been a super long video. Thank you for sticking with me to this point, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. But before I leave, y'all, before I sign off, I have to say this is a big one for me. I have had all sorts of things happening. I've had technology like fail me when I needed it to come through. I've had like backed up projects upon backed up projects and not like delivering as fast as I needed it to. But we're at this point where we're all caught up, and y'all, I am over the moon. I challenged myself to cover this from beginning to end, and we're here. At some point I didn't think I would make it, and I am so glad that I stayed true to my course. Also, what was holding me back? I was scared of being in front of the camera. I was scared of like, I just put things in my mind that I just had no control over, and just created the worst case scenarios in my mind, and I kind of fed into it for a little bit. And actually what ended up happening is nothing ended up happening. So the moral of, I guess, my experience, that your worst fears are just like really in your mind, and the reality of them coming true, unless like you have like real tangible evidence is not going to happen. So the first enemy is yourself, and you have to like feed into yourself positivity. And what do they call it, like when you're besting, like when you're sparring against an opponent, your best sparring partner actually when you want to do something new is yourself. So if you can beat yourself and prove to yourself that you can get over your fear, honestly you can achieve anything. And even though it starts small, you never know where it'll lead up to. Look at me, here we are, and I am celebrating this fact. And for those of you who've been sticking with me today from day one, I am so thankful. And for me, I'm going to take this opportunity to just be grateful and celebrate myself. And I know I'll look at this video many days, many months, many years from now and still be proud and use it to encourage myself to tackle whatever it is that I put my mind to. And I'll look back at it and smile. And I can't believe I have this on record, and I'm so glad that I have this on record. So anyway, until next time, peace y'all and stay safe. See ya.